The world of advertising has changed. Radio, TV, and newspaper revenues have declined drastically. Why? Because businesses have realized that advertising return on investment isn't what it used to be. So what can we do about it? Well, that's easy. Advertise online. Own a local restaurant, real estate agency, or even a national retail chain? Whatever your business, InRavio can get your message out there, and we can do it at a fraction of the cost. Call today and see the difference for yourself. This isn't TV. This isn't radio. This is InRavio.com. InRavio.com. The world of advertising has changed. Radio, TV, and newspaper revenues have declined drastically. Why? Because businesses have realized that advertising return on investment isn't what it used to be. So what can we do about it? Well, that's easy. Advertise online. Own a local restaurant, real estate agency, or even a national retail chain? Whatever your business, InRavio can get your message out there, and we can do it at a fraction of the cost. Call today and see the difference for yourself. This isn't TV. This isn't radio. This is InRavio.com.
Good morning and welcome back to Fantasy Baseball Code Red on InRavio.com. Morning, General. How are you today?
Good morning, Admiral. How are you?
I'm doing very well, We're going to start the show off with some big news for the show. By popular demand, we are moving the show from Saturday morning to Tuesday nights from 6:30 to 7:30. Still here on InRavio. More convenient time for people to watch, so tune in. That starts this Tuesday night.
I'll be there.
I'll be here too. All right.
As long as we have Matt, we're all set. If he's not here, we're done.
As long as we got Matt behind the glass, we're okay. If not, we're a sinking ship. All right. Let's get into the big story of the week. George Springer called up a little sooner than expected.
A lot sooner than expected. And it's kind of like a head scratcher the way I look at it because, you know, they went through the whole process of him not making the team out of spring training and the same reason,
big contract.
Right, and the same reason why they didn't bring him up last year. They offered him a contract, which he had turned down. They were trying to remove his arbitration eligibility and grab 1 year of his free agency and have control for 6-7 years. And they went through all that, and here we are 2 weeks in, and they end up elevating him to the big team, which he should be there anyway because he can play.
Yeah.
And he's still Super 2 eligible. I checked with the guru on this, by the way.
Made no sense. The move made no sense.
I mean, I'll take it.
Granted, he was hitting 308 in the minors. Had three home runs, 8 runs batted in with the Red Hawks. You know, and we saw what he did last year. I mean, last year in 2013, 37 home runs, 108 runs batted in, 45 stolen bases. The guy has major, major potential. A little bit of a high strikeout rate still, but he belongs exactly where he is right now. They played games with him, but he's up.
They brought up from the minor leagues the best player on the team. He's the best player on the team.
Yes, he is instantly the best player on the team.
He came within a couple of home runs last year of being the first player since the 50s in the minor leagues to possibly be a 40-40 guy. So he's got all the tools. Yeah, he's going to have some bumps in the road. It's not going to be an easy road for him. There's going to be little problems here and there. But I give the Astros credit. I don't know if they did this because they felt it was the right thing to do or they did this because they were under pressure from their fans because the fans know how good he is or what. But it kind of like, you know, didn't go along with their whole process with him over the last 6-8 months.
You know what? It had to look ridiculous to their fans the way this whole thing was handled. From the fact that they didn't call him up last year, then the guy goes out and has a pretty poor spring, so they send him back down. Then they offer him this 6-year deal. He turns it down. Then they bring him up. You know, here we are in mid-April. Yeah. Makes no sense the way it was handled, but if you happen to have George Springer, you're very happy today.
I know some people that are. I'm not one of them.
I happen to be one of them. All right, George, welcome to the big leagues. Hope it's a long and very successful career. All right, let's get right into who's hot and who's not for the week. Some guys that are tearing it up this week. Adrian Gonzalez. Gonzalez, 391 this week, 4 home runs, 11 runs batted in. He's tearing the cover off the ball.
Yeah, and that's another one of these guys that quietly goes about his business. And when you look up after a month or two, he's right in the thick of things. And right now, he's just riding an incredible hot streak, and they need that too. So.
The only thing surprising about him right now is the home runs. I mean, he's got 4 home runs this week. He's kind of settled into a little bit of a, more of around a 20 home run a year kind of guy. After hitting, in the 30s and pretty consistently for a couple of years, but tearing it up. Another guy tearing it up, and it's reminiscent of last year early on. That's Justin Upton. Upton 500, 4 home runs, 8 runs batted in this week.
Well, it's exactly like last year, pretty much. I hope he doesn't go and do what he did last year after he tore it up for the first 4 weeks of the season, because he went into the tank.
He became BJ.
He became BJ Upton. So I don't know. But once again, he is unconscious right now. Unconscious.
Yeah. Another guy in the Bronx is pretty hot is Beltran.
And that's a signing that, there were some whispers and raised eyebrows. I think you might have raised an eyebrow yourself over there. This guy's a legitimate hitter.
Oh, no question.
And he is always consistently been a good hitter. I know he had a year or two with the Mets where he was shaky, but I think he's actually gotten more consistent, more reliable the last few years. Granted, been healthy.
That's the key.
And still, even last year, he's proved it again. He's still a consistent playoff performer. I think that's important if you're a team that intends on being in the playoffs each year. The Yankees intend to try to get there, and I think that's a key, too, because there's too many guys. Teixeira is one of them. Swisher was another one. Mm-hmm. There's a long list of other ones, too, that simply turn it off the day the playoffs begin. That drives me nuts,
Yeah, and you know what? Beltran is a guy that, if he does stay healthy, he will produce. He's really benefiting by playing in that stadium in the Bronx with the short porch in right field. That's going to help him a lot. But he's getting a bit older now. He's 38. If he can stay healthy, he'll produce. That's really the key. So have a capable backup just in case. Joey Votto. Joey Votto, 375 this week, 4 home runs, 8 runs batted in. Off to a great start.
Yeah, well, he needs to do something to get back in my good graces. I thought last year was a major letdown, so...
Yeah, it was. It was.
Right now, he's doing what he should have been doing all along, so...
Yeah. Yeah, you know what? Votto's another guy that, and he's not that old.
No,
He's in his early 30s, but he seems to be a guy that's, kind of creeping toward the downside of his career slowly but surely. Colby Rasmus, you laughed at me last week.
I'm still laughing. We're going to laugh again. I'm not. I will never.
Hey, listen, he hit 421 this week, okay, with 3 home runs and only 5 runs batted in. But he hit 421 with 3 home runs, okay. Colby Rasmus could be, he's still a young guy, could still be a potential breakout guy.
No.
Insert laugh here.
He will be an ad and a drop shortly thereafter. And then he'll be an ad again later in the year.
Again. All right. Eric Young Jr., 325 this week, 7 steals this week, 11 runs scored.
This is an interesting player. This is a guy that nobody pays attention to when draft day comes. I guess there's always questions, is he going to play? If he plays, will he hit enough? Will he have a position?
Right.
At the end of the day, when it's all said and done, this is a legitimate stolen base guy. And if he plays, he's going to steal 45, 50 bases. And unlike Billy Hamilton, we know Eric Young can hit enough to stay in a lineup. Right. He should be able to stay in the Met lineup in one capacity or another.
Well, here's the deal. Now you've got 4 guys vying for time because Chris Young comes back, or came back. So what the deal is now is they guaranteed Chris Young playing time, the majority of the playing time in the outfield when they signed him to the 1-year deal. Okay, so they gave him, a contract that kind of stipulated that he was going to play. Granderson's going to be out there every night. If Young stays hot, I think the guy that kind of falls out of favor is Lagares, and it's a shame because he got off to a good start, and he's a young guy with some potential. The Mets really should let him play, but they're going to roll these guys out there like Chris Young and Eric Young, and I guess hope for the best.
Well, right now the problem goes away for a couple of weeks because Lagares has the hammy, so
Right.
we'll see what happens. But again, another one of these guys. These stolen bases are getting harder and harder to come by in the
Yeah.
league. It's a situation where you end up putting guys in that can't do anything else but steal bases,
Right.
which I hate.
Which is a perfect segue to my next guy, D. Gordon. D. Gordon this week, 400 with 7 steals as well.
Yeah, I mean, see, that's the kind of guy. If you get one guy on your roster like that, you can probably live with it if you have a decent hitting roster. But I just hate plugging one of these guys in who doesn't hit any home runs, doesn't drive in any runs. But if he's going to steal four bases a week, that's a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, or 5 or 6 is even off the charts. That can do the whole category for you. You might be done halfway through the week if your opponent has no stolen base threat. So they're useful and
Yeah,
worthy
the
of
head-to-head
playing.
league with daily moves. You're absolutely right. Another guy off to a great start, Johnny Cueto. He's 1-1, but 1.13 ERA, 0.75 WHIP, 17 strikeouts in 14 innings. I've always been a fan. A lot of people aren't. I've always been a fan.
Well, I guess I'm kind of back on the Cueto bandwagon right now because he's pitching so well.
Right.
But I've been off that bandwagon a few times too. So.
It all depends on the day, folks.
Yeah.
All right. And Masahiro Tanaka, I mean, he's just off to an incredible start.
He is more, I think, than what we were expecting at this point in his career. We could be looking at a guy right now that could be the best pitcher in the American League, probably definitely the best pitcher on the Yankees without question
without
at this
question,
point in time. You know what it is. They're mystery men. These guys, they come from Japan. You don't really know. I think now we've seen enough to realize that if this guy stays healthy and pitches the whole year, he's going to put up some massive numbers.
I would have to agree. I mean, there are people out there that say, "Oh, first time through the league, he's nobody knows him. Maybe he'll settle down and won't be quite as dominant later in the year." But I'm not buying that. I think this guy's the real deal.
No, I've seen enough that I agree with you. I think that you're going to see a very, very big season out of this guy.
Yeah. And another guy that's headed toward a huge season right now is Irvin Santana. He was 1-0 this week in 2 starts with a 0.64 ERA, 0.64 WHIP, 17 strikeouts in 14 innings pitched. Is he the real deal?
You know what? My heart says he is. My head tells me he's not. I don't know. He's definitely a flyer guy. I doubt he was drafted probably in most leagues, or if he was, it was late, or he was a March or early April pickup.
Yeah.
So that's where everyone else feels about him. I should have looked and seen what his Yahoo ownership rate was, but it's probably was low. I would imagine.
Well, here's the deal with him. My feeling is this is a guy moving from the American League to the National League who will probably benefit by that move. I don't think he'll dominate all year, but I think he will be a very, a high-end starter for most of the year if he stays healthy.
I would tend to agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't put him, in the class of the elite pitchers, but he's, certainly a guy you want to have on your roster right now.
Well, we still haven't not that far removed from the Irvin Santana that was getting racked on a regular basis.
Yes.
So let's not forget that either.
Yeah, let's not
April.
Let's not get carried away, folks.
Yeah, well, we have a real bad tendency of getting carried away with players' performance to the positive and to the negative in April. Mm-hmm. So we got to just temper the enthusiasm a little bit.
Yeah. And one last guy hot, Jake Peavy.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1.42 ERA this week with a 1.11 WHIP, 16 strikeouts in 12 2/3.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic.
It's reminiscent of the Peavy of old.
Peavy. A couple of guys I just don't want to forget that have been off to a pretty good start, and at least in the last week are off to a good week. Chase Utley coming out of nowhere, all of a sudden hitting home runs. Everyone said he was done too. Mm-hmm. Maybe he's not done. Also, Giancarlo Stanton. Putting up some power numbers. I know the average isn't that high. A couple of bombs. The average isn't that high, but you don't care about that right now at this point. What you're looking for is the power and he's driving in runs, and he's healthy. That's the biggest key with him at all times. The other guy I just throw out there too, Mike Leake. Mm-hmm. He's another guy that he quietly goes about his business.
He does.
We forget about
He's a guy that nobody pays attention to.
And he's pitching great, and he hit a home run in the game the other day. Not that it matters in fantasy world because his stats don't count from the offensive standpoint, but another guy that is one of these unsung heroes out there that gives you good performance almost every time he goes out there.
Yeah, I found some little, what's the word I'm looking for? A little surprise performance out of somebody this week. Tuesday, I needed a second baseman to plug in. I had Ugla on my bench. I'm like, you know what? He's going 0 for 4, but I'm throwing him in. It's 2 home runs.
The good, the bad, and the Ugla. When you're desperate, you'll do anything, Aaron, won't you?
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, let's quickly go through who's not hot, and then we'll take a quick break. Jay Bruce, not hot this week, 1 for 17.
Listen, let me just run through a list of guys that cannot get off the interstate. All right, you ready? Jay Bruce, Will Myers, Alan Craig, Chris Carter, Pedro Alvarez, Kyle Sager. All these guys are under 200.
Yeah.
I mean, I-95 awaits you guys.
Yeah, and Billy Butler this week, 1 for 17. Trumbo, 3 for 29. Carlos Santana, I don't know what's up with him, but he is 2 for 21 this week. And not off to a great start. Matt, no, not that Carlos Santana.
That guy actually probably hitting better than the real Carlos Santana.
I'd put him up with that.
He could use his guitar and probably hit a little bit better than the Carlos Santana.
That is the right guy. Okay.
Yeah, there he is.
Anyway, so Santana, not quite in mid-season form yet, as they say. A couple of pitchers quickly. Wandy Rodriguez, I dropped him this week after going 0-1. A 9.60 ERA, a very robust, a very generous 1.73 whip, 20 hits and 8 walks in 13 2/3.
Go get him, Wandy.
Let me tell you, that makes me want to grab a bat and get up there. And finally, Jake Odorizzi stinking up the joint, no pun intended, or excuse the pun. 0-2 this week, 9 ERA, 1.90 whip. So there you have it.
There's nothing left to be said after that.
All right. So you've got all these guys that are stinking the place up. We're going to come back right after the break with waiver wire and give you an idea who you might be able to pick up to replace or bench some of these guys. So we'll be back in a minute on Code Red on Ravio.com.
InRavio.com.
Transmission of lice occurs from being in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Like catching a cold or a flu.
You have guaranteed peace of mind in every bottle of Got Lice because all of our products are completely natural.
And organic.
But strong enough to cover all your lice removal needs while being safe and effective. Our professional technicians are specially trained with our exclusive proven technique to successfully comb out head lice. We come right to your home at your convenience.
Whenever you want us.
We bring everything needed to perform a successful and complete comb out while eliminating your head lice. And we leave you with our exclusive complimentary products to use for the next 10 days following our treatment.
For free.
Our technicians also check all family members who have been exposed to lice. Please visit us on our website today at gotlice.co or feel free to call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at 646-257-0121.
The world of advertising has changed. Radio, TV, and newspaper revenues have declined drastically. Why? Because businesses have realized that advertising return on investment isn't what it used to be. So what can we do about it? Well, that's easy. Advertise online. Own a local restaurant, real estate agency, or even a national retail chain? Whatever your business, InRavio can get your message out there. And we can do it at a fraction of the cost. Call today and see the difference for yourself. This isn't TV. This isn't radio. This is InRavio.com.
Hey Beatle fans, I'm Glenn Calderon.
And I'm Lucy Diamond.
Join us every Tuesday night from 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern Time for Beatles Across the Universe.
On InRavio.com.
Broadcasting to the world.
Catch us.
For over 60 years, Hanson Carpet has put the customer first, providing only the finest quality products and service. And Hanson Carpet is so much more than just carpet. We also carry a wide selection of window blinds and shades, and our licensed and insured technicians can service any of your flooring or window covering needs. Browse our huge selection of laminate, carpet, linoleum, vinyl, and tile. Stop by our showroom today or visit HansonCarpet.com. No matter what your project, Hanson Carpet has got you covered. InRavio.com.
All right, it's waiver wire time. Welcome back to the show. You want to bounce a few off of each
Absolutely.
other? All right. I'm going to start with Jesse Chavez, starting pitcher out in Oakland. Now, this guy's 30 years old, okay? this is not a late bloomer. I don't know what this is. Well, here's what it is. Okay, the situation with him is he added a pitch this year, and he added a cutter, and the cutter is making a big difference for this guy. He's got a 1.35 ERA, 0.85 WHIP, 22 strikeouts in 20 innings pitched, just 2 walks. So certainly a guy that is worthy of consideration and a pickup.
Oh, he's a must-add at this stage of the game. But the question is, will it last for any length of time to make it worth your while? It doesn't really matter because he's pitching so well.
I like the guy that adds a new pitch and it gets reinvented.
Typically, starting pitchers do not really develop into very, very good pitchers at 30. Closers do.
Yeah.
We've had a long list of closers that come in 32, 33, 34, and they close good for 3 years and they're out of the league.
Right.
But starting pitchers typically don't. Worth a pickup. He should be picked up and starting in every league
No question.
right now.
When you have a 20
And he pitches
20 to
in
2
pitches ballpark in Oakland.
Yeah, but 20 to 2 strikeout to walk ratio, I'm picking that up.
He's in control of his game.
He's in control. Throw somebody out.
I got one guy I mentioned, I think, on the draft show, Nick Franklin, out there in AAA, hit .395, 4 homers, 13 RBIs. Last year, low average, .225 in the majors in Seattle, 12 homers, 45 RBIs. He's up. I think they're going to try him in the outfield.
Yeah.
I think they're going to look for a way to get him in there. Might be worthy of a flyer pickup if he gets going. He's already hot. If he keeps it going, he gets playing time, he might be an answer to someone's prayers.
You wonder, is this guy the quadruple A player? He can't get it done in the majors, but he seems to have success in AAA.
I wouldn't say he can't get it done. If he had a higher batting average, we would have said decent season. He only had 350 at-bats or 400 at-bats, whatever it was.
Right.
12 homers, 45 RBIs, and second base eligible, which is the key.
Right now. But here's a guy that is going to be either finding himself a new position or finding himself a new team, because there's no way he's playing second base with Cano.
No.
With Cano there, it's just not going to happen.
No, but if he's in the outfield and he's second base eligible in your league,
you
then
ride
it's a
that for
guy
while.
that, you can plug in at second base where there aren't a whole lot of options. So.
All right, I'm going to throw out Robbie Erlin. Robbie Erlin from San Diego. Okay? You know what? Big lefty, really kind of flew under the radar. But is off to a pretty good start. I mean, he's 1-1 with a 3.17 ERA, 0.97 WHIP, 14 strikeouts in 11 2/3. What's not to like? Pitching in a great park.
Another guy you should go out and grab.
Yeah.
San Diego, pitchers ballpark. Why not?
Yeah, pick him up. Drop Wandy.
National
Pick up
League,
Erlin.
absolutely. I got one for you, Eric Johnson, a guy that I was, kind of concerned about, but he had a good start Tuesday against the Red Sox, 6 2/3, 1 earned run, 9 Ks. After a couple of rough starts, that's a good sign. I think he's well worth a pickup at this point. See what happens. I think they're committed to him. I don't think he's going to get bounced out of the rotation anytime soon. I thought we would have got off to a better start, but we had a good pitching performance from him, worthy of a shot.
Yeah, absolutely. Guy I'm going to throw out there is not currently on a major league roster. He's loving that happens. But here's a guy that's actually auditioning right now with about 6 different teams.
The Mets being one of them.
In fact, he's set to throw today for a couple of different teams, and I think he's auditioning with about 6 different teams. And that's Joel Hanrahan. There are some teams out there that need closers, Boston being one of them. Well, that could be a nightmare, bringing him back after his meltdown last year. You think of the Yankees possibly as a setup man. You think of the Mets. You think of, certainly 4, 5, 6 teams that could use a guy like Hanrahan if he's healthy.
Yeah, he's a long shot flyer in my mind because as soon as he comes back, he's going to end up being like a middle inning guy. That'll take a month or so, and unless the team has a total meltdown. I mean, he may eventually be useful, but I think if you're picking him up, he's more of a wait and see. He may be a month or 2 out before.
Yeah, but I like him as a stash.
He's a stash
because from week to week, we all know you're looking for a closer. So when his time comes,
listen, you might be looking for your stash when this guy starts pitching for you.
All right, what do you got?
What do you got? Robbie Ross, converted reliever. You know what? 3 starts in. This guy has done really, really well.
Again, good pitcher's park.
So he's often running. I mean, I don't know. Converted relievers, again, typically don't get off to a great start. But he seems to be able to go 6 innings. He's pitching really well. Definitely worth a flyer. Robbie Ross, starting pitcher. I would take a shot on him if I had needed starting pitcher.
Okay. Here's a guy that I'm going to throw out, which may draw a snicker or two, but Jason Kubel. A guy... Thank you. You're right on cue. You know what? Here's a guy that a lot of people had very high hopes for. I mean, this is a guy I saw protected in some leagues at one point in his career. And
a couple years ago.
Yeah, it was a couple years ago. But right now he's playing outfield for Minnesota. Batting .357, just 1 home run, 7 runs batted in. But, a guy that you could certainly add some depth to your bench, some depth to your team and take a flyer on him.
Well, let's put it this way. There's enough guys out there hitting 190, 195, 185, 156 that, you can't do any worse than that. He's hitting better than those guys are right now. The problem is that all those guys that are hitting, 150, they're your top guys and not guys typically that you're going to want to bench.
Right.
Let me see. I got another guy that I might have mentioned before. I think I mentioned him last week. I want to mention him again. Jared Cosarts. I've got some quick notes here. 9 of his first 13 major league starts, he's given up 2 earned runs or less. This is a guy that's under the radar. He's in Houston. The problem is he's not going to get a lot of wins. I think in his first 13 starts, he has like maybe 3 or 4 decisions even, because a lot of the games he leaves, he's either tied or up by a run or down by a run. Bullpen blows the game. So, but if you're looking for a good pitching line, he might be a guy worthy of a pickup.
Yeah, absolutely. And the last guy I want to throw out is Michael Morse. Is available in some leagues. Actually, was on Yahoo this week as one of the most added players, so he's out there. San Francisco, this is a guy that typically gets off to a pretty good start. He's batting .333, 2 home runs, 9 runs batted in. Certainly if this guy's out there, grab him and run with it for a while.
Yeah, I just got one other person I'm going to bring up, which I'm laughing at myself right now. I've been bringing this guy up. I kind of had this guy written off as a prospect, but I have to catch myself. Trevor Bauer. Now, the reason that I'm throwing him out there is that he's in the situation with Cleveland where he comes up, he starts, they send him back down. He comes up, starts a couple games, they send him back down. This has been going on for 2 years now.
Because he's a head case.
Well, because he can't get any
maturity
consistency, and he can't
to be consistent,
and he can't get the control under control.
Right.
But here's where we're at right now. In the minors, he's had 2 starts, 12 innings pitched, 7 hits, 0.75 ERA, 18 Ks in 12 innings, 3 walks. That's the key. He started 1 game last week, 6 innings pitched in the majors, 6 innings pitched, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 8 Ks, 2 walks. That's 3 really good starts, and one of them was in the majors. Right now, he's worthy of a pickup. Definitely in my mind.
Yeah. You know what? I mean, absolutely, I would agree with that.
He's going to make me wrong. So.
Well, you know what? He was a top pitching prospect in the majors.
I sat on him for the longest time, waiting.
I mean, we were all waiting for this guy, and then he gets traded. And then the story comes out that we've got a little bit of a maturity issue with this guy, and
and there was an issue.
I think he's a guy who's still very young and still has the chance to get his act together and be successful.
I think that it's happening now, and he's worthy of a pickup because I think you will see him again up at the big league roster soon.
No question. All right, let's take another quick break, and we'll be back in a couple of minutes here on Fantasy Baseball. Code RED on Enravio.com.
Enravio.com.
Hi, I'm Dave Canfield, host of Nerdgasm.
I'm Joe Winchell. Nobody likes me.
And I'm Peppercorn Montgomery.
Tune in every Wednesday night only on Nerdravio.com to hear the greatest nerd discussion of all time. It is Nerdgasmic.
It'll be the best nerdgasm you've ever had.
Radio.com.
Hey, we're back. Okay, let's get into our two-star pitcher segment right now. Again, this is a great opportunity to to maximize your points in a given week, especially if you're in a league where you have to set your lineup for the week in advance, which I am in a couple of those. And I'm finding that having two guys or having guys with two starts in that week really makes a difference. Really makes a huge difference. So let's start with a guy that we talked about a little bit last week, Scott Feldman. Feldman has two pretty good starts. He's got the first start in Seattle and second start against Erasmo Ramirez, by the way, who's just getting pounded. And the second start is against Oakland at home against Tommy Malone. I'm liking both of those starts for Feldman.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Seattle's not the pushover they used to be, so that one a little concerning. But Feldman's pitching well, so I probably would start him in both of those.
Yeah, I mean, I like him in Seattle only because it's in Seattle. It's a pitcher-friendly park, and the guy's on a roll. So, Joe Kelly, who I traded for this
I
week.
think they just DL'd him.
Oh, okay.
I think he's
You know
just
what? They
DL'd.
may have. He had a hamstring
and,
injury. They may have actually put him on the DL. So he probably will not get two starts.
He will not help you next week.
He will not help you, Mr. Kelly. He will be on my DL post haste. Okay. Henry Mejia, New York Mets pitcher. Here's a guy I like a lot. Just he's got some control issues. When he gets that under control, he is going to be very, very good. The first start is at home against St. Louis. It was supposed to be against Kelly. I guess it's not going to be now, so we'll find out who he's pitching against in that game. Second start is against Miami, also in New York. And again, we don't know who he's going against, so I like Mejia this week.
Well, I mean, I'm not sold on Mejia. I'm not a big Mejia fan, but both games are at home in that spacious ballpark. St. Louis is not really hitting, and the only guy hitting on Miami is Stanton. You'll probably pitch around him. So they're not terrible starts. I'm not sold on Mejia yet, but if there was ever a place you wanted to get him, I would say get him at home. So.
Yeah. I like him. Now, here's a guy that you cannot dispute, because I said on last year's show, Andrew Cashner will be a star in this league. I guaranteed it. Did I not?
Yes, you did.
Yes,
I have to admit that you did.
And I have to say, the guy has been lights out, and he's back to striking people out, which is something that he kind of lost temporarily in his game. He was a big strikeout pitcher when he first came up, kind of lost his way with the strikeouts a little bit. But now he's kind of finding that form again. But the ERA's been good regardless. The whip's been great regardless. He's pitching in a fantastic park to pitch in. He is a guy that I really, really like a lot.
No, absolutely. And I think when he went through Admiral last year, it was a little bit of a dead arm. I think we saw some of that. But right now, absolute must start.
But he's a guy that throws 95 and should be able to strike guys out. On a pretty consistent basis. He's got San Diego. He's got Milwaukee this week in Milwaukee, and then he's got Washington at Washington, which I like. I'm rolling with him this week for sure.
Absolutely, yeah.
And one last guy that I think has a pretty good week ahead of him is Hyun-Jin Ryu. Ryu has two starts. First game is at home against the Phillies. Second game versus Colorado at home. First game is against Hamels. Second game is against Jorge De La Rosa. So I like Ryu a lot. He's had that one bad start. Other than that, his other three starts, he's virtually unhittable.
Yeah, no, I like the two starts. The Phillies haven't really caught fire yet. There's not enough guys there hitting to be worried about that lineup. And, I think he'll be fine in both of those starts. Yeah. So I'd go for it there with both of them.
Any streamers?
Yeah, a couple of streamers. They're getting harder and harder to find, but there's probably a few of these guys still out there in your league. Zach McAllister, if he's still available, he's pitching on, let me see, Monday versus Kansas City. Chris Young, he's out there next week. He'll be pitching against Houston probably on Wednesday.
I mean, we talked about him last week as a pickup for last week, and you know, again, the key to this guy is can he stay on the field? He's successful whenever he is.
Yeah, Edison Volquez pitching again probably on Tuesday against Cincinnati. You know, Cincinnati really hasn't gotten it going with the hitting yet. I know that Votto's hitting, but as a team, they really haven't put together like, you know, a potent offense yet. So that might be a good streamer. Another one, Drew Smiley, pitching probably against the White Sox on Wednesday. The White Sox, again, another team that really hasn't gotten the hitting. I mean, none of these teams really are hitting outrageous right now because of the situation with the weather. It's early in the year. And my last one, another streamer that I would throw out there, Tom Kohler. He's pitching against your beloved Mets next week, probably on Friday. Listen, I'm picking more streamers against the Mets than you can shake a stick at right now.
People are lining up to pitch against my beloved Mets.
It's starting to change.
There is a long line circling Citi Field right now.
It's Streamer City. Streamer City Field.
Well, yeah, you have to say the Mets have been on a little bit of a roll.
Well, yeah, but you know what? They are starting to score runs a little bit here and there. So I don't know if I can keep going like this. But at the moment, they're a good streamer option for the opponent when you have a guy out there making a start that's probably available in your league. So, you know, the guys that fall into that category are the Mets, Houston, Kansas City. Right. Those are the three biggies. Yeah. You have a guy out there that's, you know, not a great starter, but he's going against a weaker offense. That might be your opportunity to get a guy in the lineup that can help you for the week. So you're going to drop him right after that, more than likely.
Yeah, I would imagine a lot of these guys. And did you have one more?
No, that was it.
That was it. Okay. All right, let's segue into our injury update segment. You know what? This has been the year of the Tommy John surgery. We've got another guy going down, Matt Moore, Tommy John surgery. Josh Johnson, Tommy John.
This is terrible. I mean, it
just seems to be almost contagious.
Every Tom, John, Dick, and Harry is out there getting Tommy John surgery at this point. I might go myself. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I can make a comeback. I don't know.
You get that fastball up to about 70.
Oh my God! I mean, this is terrible. But I don't know if it's a product of the way people are pitching or being brought up through the minors and whatnot, or is it a product of better technology so everyone's going to get Tommy John surgery? I don't know which came first.
It's kind of baffling in a way because you've got a situation where suddenly everybody has this injury.
And as soon as you hear the arm injury, first thing everyone thinks of those guys having Tommy John, without a doubt. I mean, I thought Matt Latos was going to be the next guy.
Yeah.
But he's not. He's not having Tommy John surgery.
Yeah, we'll get to him. He's actually they thought he was going to have it. He had an MRI. And they had found a flexor mass strain in his forearm. But the UCL is
Where's
good.
Dr. Bellows when you need him?
Dr. Bellows, yeah. Don't get me started. We could start rattling off a bunch of...
Dr. Bombay?
Not Dr. Bombays. Manny Machado is very close to coming back.
Started running the bases. I think you'll see him, I don't know, probably sometime by the end of April.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Another guy, we'll put this guy in the same category as Trevor Bauer. That's Dylan Bundy. Bundy's close to coming back from his Tommy John.
Yeah, I think you'll see him sometime in the next month or so also. Yeah. I mean, as long as he doesn't pitch like Al Bundy, we'll be in great shape. I'm going to get them all in tonight. That's it. I'm going to get them all in. All right, who else we got?
All right.
Pull yourself together, Radman.
Yeah, I got to pull it together. I'm sorry. Will
I'll tell you what. Well, Will Middlebrooks. Well, he's got the flu, and he's got a multitude of injuries and sicknesses. I don't know what's going on with this guy, but back in Boston, I think, with the flu at this point in time, to go along with whatever other aches and pains he has. So.
I'm sorry, I can't get over the Al Bundy reference because that was one of the funniest shows on television. It really was.
Oh, God.
All right, Aroldis Chapman. Chapman throwing. He's throwing, and all reports are good. Again, I will say that this is a guy that you got to hope that there's no, psychological issue here. You have to hope that he, jumps right back on the horse, right back on the bike after falling off, and he's okay, good to go.
Yeah, you probably won't see him until mid-May. So if you have Broxton, you hang on to Broxton for a
Yeah.
while. You're still going to get saves out of him. Unlike all the people that jumped on the Sean Kelly bandwagon, where it appears Robertson's coming back very soon, imminently.
Yeah.
And Chapman will be back mid-May. He'll be ready to go.
Yeah, we had a guy in our league trade for Kelly against my advice, and I told him you're going to have him for like 3 days, and then you'll be dropping him.
Oh God.
Cole Calhoun. This guy's got a serious ankle injury. He's going to be out for 4 to 6 weeks.
He hit a bomb the other night, and then he goes out like this. So, and this is I don't know. What are you going to do? So you'll see him in 2 months.
Yeah. Another guy coming back is Chris Young, and Chris Young of the Mets. And
I'm down on him anyway, so.
You have to be,
Welcome back, but who cares?
with a guy that hits 220, but this is a guy that still has legitimate power potential and can steal bases. So if you can live with a 222 batting average, you might get something out of him. I mean, he is hitting in the cavernous, City Field.
There
and
couldn't be
that can't be a good thing.
There couldn't be a worse formula for this guy. Let's take a guy who's struggling to begin with and put him in a field that's even harder to hit home runs in. And
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
You know what? Bench player.
He's got to do something to show me anything.
Yeah. Cole Hamels. Cole Hamels will be back next week.
Yep.
He's another guy that a lot of people are down on a little bit right
I'm
now.
down on
I
him.
am not down.
Stock down on Cole Hamels.
I like him. I like him a lot.
How about James Paxton? James Paxton, lat injury, late April, I think, will be his return. It's not super serious, so James Paxton owners, don't panic. He will return, and off to a great start when he was pitching.
Yeah. How about Hisashi Iwakuma?
This is the most popular finger injury, and I'm going to give Hisashi Iwakuma the finger in a minute. It's like, let's get on the field already and start playing. I mean,
He
it's
pitched
incredible.
a simulated game this week. He's very close to coming back. Again, one of the most underrated pitchers in all of baseball. This guy is really, really good.
Yeah, I mean, he is good. He's actually, a solid start every time out almost. So welcome back when you come back from your finger injury.
And Alex Cobb. Alex Cobb with an oblique injury, out 4 to 6 weeks. Can they do Tommy John on that?
Alex Cobb, Ty Cobb is laughing at you somewhere tonight.
Corn on the Cobb is laughing at
Hey,
you
don't
right
forget,
now.
there's one other guy. I don't know if you're moving on there, Admiral, but where is he? Mike Minor. The return of Mike Minor is
Right.
imminent. He will rejoin the team probably late April, April 24th, 25th, somewhere around there. So keep an eye on that one.
Okay. I'm going to throw one last guy out there, and that's Ryan Zimmerman. Zimmerman, I expected to go on the DL weeks ago with a shoulder injury. And what's hysterical about this is a guy that could barely get the ball from third to first base. I don't know if you watched any of the games. He could barely get the ball across the field. Turns out he injured his thumb on some kind of freak base running play, and he will not need surgery, but he's going to be out 4 to 6 weeks. I think Anthony Rendon will probably be the guy that steps in there. So,
Okay.
that's from a fantasy perspective, that's a pretty big hit.
And the last guy I'm going to throw out there is Gavin Floyd, probably, again, due to return sometime in the next, say, 4 weeks. Could be a waiver wire pickup for you. I'm not saying he's a great pitcher, but, when things get tight out there, you're in a deep league, he might, anyone that goes on that roster seems to pitch well. So it's like, take your pick.
Yeah. All right, anybody else?
That's it.
Everybody else is pretty healthy. All right, Man Crush. Let's get back to our tongue-in-cheek Man Crush segment. We had a lot of fun with that last year. I had Matt Harvey, and the commish had Manny Machado, and you had a blast with Puig.
The Cuban Missile.
The Cuban Missile Crisis. I'm going to give you a little bit of an update now on Matt Harvey. Harvey is in the middle of his rehabilitation. He is in the process of doing that in New York. There's a chance he may be back by the end of the year. But if you remember, the big story last year with Matt was he was dating supermodel Ann V. And let me tell you,
That was a big story.
talk about it, man. That was a big story. He was posing naked. He's dating supermodels.
That was a big story on TMZ, I think. I don't know about Code Red.
That was a big story. Well, apparently Matt has broken up with Ann. He
Oh, jeez, are you
he
kidding
broke
me?
her heart.
Oh, God.
He broke her heart. And right now I think Matt's not doing a lot of this, but he is doing a lot of
Oh, my God.
that.
Oh, God.
That is Ashley House. And Ashley House is smoking hot.
Listen, The only thing anybody cares about with Matt Harvey is that he gets back on the field and starts pitching again. What he's doing in his bedroom, we don't care. What he's doing on the field in Citi Field, we do care about.
Just keep it off the tabloids. You know, we really don't want to see that anymore.
Yeah, that's, let's see more about Matt getting his rehab going and getting back on the field.
Yeah.
Matt is 24.
Matt is 22,
Very young.
I believe. Yeah.
No, he's not 22.
Maybe 23.
Got to be a little older than that.
Oh, he's 24. Thank you, Matt, behind the glass. All right. Well, Matt's living the life. My man crush this year is still Bryce Harper. He's finally starting to hit a little bit. Hit 520 this week. 1 home run, 5 runs batted in. There's a lingering shoulder injury now that we're hearing about. So, again, let's hope he can stay on the field.
All right, I am now officially on the George Springer bandwagon, and I was on it last year, actually. If you remember, I was calling for his promotion to the major leagues around June, July.
You were his biggest.
And I would have bet the farm, if you, no pun intended, if you will. I would have bet the farm that we were going to see George Springer by July, August.
That show.
And then by the time September came, we gave up. And then we came to the realization that it made no sense, I guess, for the Astros to do it at that time because of the Super 2 eligibility. Not that we're going to go into those rules right now, but it would be a lot of money out of their pocket 2 years from now when he was eligible for arbitration, or 3 years, I guess, after you first get into the league. You're talking, the difference is really literally millions and millions of dollars.
Absolutely.
You're talking,
it could be
that's how much.
If you're a good player, $8 to $10 million.
Right. If you're a good player and you go to arbitration, the difference between making $500,000 and $10 million, that's what we're talking about. And the Astros don't have that kind of money. I get it.
Yeah, I get it too. This is going to be an interesting one to watch, though, because you know what? Here's a guy that turned down a 6-year.
$23 million, I think it was.
I think it was more than that. It might have been a $35 million
no,
contract.
I think it was in the 20s.
I don't remember. He turned down big bucks.
Guaranteed money.
Guaranteed money, and he took a chance. And we're going to find out in a couple of years whether they made the right decision or not. He's
You
either
certainly
going to
are.
be $10 million or so.
If I'm not mistaken, I think Chris Young, your beloved Chris Young of the Mets, who came from Arizona, came up with Arizona years ago, I think that they did that with Chris Young and bought out all his arbitration years, and they bought out his first year of free agency. Well, obviously, it did not work out.
It's a big risk on the part of the club because, you know, you're taking a very unknown quantity and really investing a boatload of money in somebody that you think is going to work out, and you're rolling the dice, hoping to save a couple of bucks.
Well, the flip side is Yezo Puig being the example. They bought him for $42 million, and they're getting a $15 million a year player right now, maybe a $20 million a year player. That's going to pay off in 2 years' time. We're in the second year right now. If he has another good season this year and half a decent season next year, that money is well spent. So it is a risk. It's a gamble.
It's a risk on everybody's part. It's a risk on the player's part. It's a risk on the team's part. And some people take the risk, some people don't. You know, so it's interesting to watch.
I'm in love with Springer. I'm going to announce that right here and now. I loved him last year. He's a UConn alum. Power, speed.
Is he blushing, Matt?
Power, speed combination. They're hard to come by.
Yeah.
My guess is that the stolen bases will come for the first few years, where you'll start seeing some 30-30 stuff, and then it goes away after that.
But how old is he?
He's 24, I think.
23,
24, somewhere in that range.
I mean, he's got a lot of years ahead of him to be the full package.
So he's my new guy. He's my new man crush. We'll keep an eye on him until further notice.
Okay. All right, with that said, let's take a quick commercial break. We'll be back in a couple of minutes on InRavio.com with Fantasy Baseball. Go Red.
I'm Nikki Lorenzo, and be sure to watch In or Out, pun intended, on Friday nights on InRavio.com.
world of advertising has changed. Radio, TV, and newspaper revenues have declined drastically. Why? Because businesses have realized that advertising return on investment isn't what it used to be. So what can we do about it? Well, that's easy. Advertise online. Own a local restaurant, real estate agency, or even a national retail chain? Whatever your business, InRavio can get your message out there, and we can do it at a fraction of the cost. Call today and see the difference for yourself. This isn't TV. This isn't radio. This is InRavio.com. For over 60 years, Hanson Carpet has put the customer first, providing only the finest quality products and service. And Hanson Carpet is so much more than just carpet. We also carry a wide selection of window blinds and shades, and our licensed and insured technicians can service any of your flooring or window covering needs. Browse our huge selection of laminate, carpet, linoleum, vinyl, and tile. Stop by our showroom today or visit HansonCarpet.com. No matter what your project, Hanson Carpet has got you covered.
Transmission of lice occurs from being in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Like catching a cold or the flu.
You have guaranteed peace of mind in every bottle of Got Lice because all of our products are completely natural
And organic.
but strong enough to cover all your lice removal needs while being safe and effective. Our professional technicians are specially trained with our exclusive proven technique to successfully comb out head lice. We come right to your home at your convenience.
Whenever you want us.
We bring everything needed to perform a successful and complete comb out while eliminating your head lice. And we leave you with our exclusive complimentary products to use for the next 10 days following our treatment.
For free.
Our technicians also check all family members who have been exposed to lice. Please visit us on our website today at gotlice.co or feel free to call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at 646-257-0121.
InRavio.com.
All right, let's wrap up the show with our rookie class, our Down on the Farm report. Lot going on right now. One guy I want to update you on, though, is Javier Baez, shortstop / second baseman for the Cubs. He was a guy that I thought was going to be a very quick call-up. I really had a feeling that, Starlin Castro would kind of rebound. He's too young not to. And I really thought that Donovan Barney would be on the shuttle out of town. But Baez was just placed on the DL. Left ankle sprain. It doesn't appear to be major, but it looks like he's going to be out for a few weeks. He was only hitting $154 to start, so I wouldn't expect him to get called up anytime soon.
No, you probably won't see him at all. Or if you do, it'll be well after June.
Yeah. Another guy I want to throw out there is Gregory Polanco, 21-year-old outfielder for the Pirates. He is on a tear right now down in AAA, hitting .500. Yes, that's not a softball game, by the way. He's hitting .500. In his first 10 games, a couple of home runs. The only thing I think that's holding him back right now is that Travis Snyder is off to a pretty good start for the Bucks. So, I think you're going to see Polanco at some point, probably in June. Would you agree?
I think you're definitely going to see him. I think you're definitely going to see him. He is the real deal. I think as soon as his Super 2 eligibility goes away, he is going to be in that Pittsburgh outfield, regardless of what Travis Schneider is doing. They'll work around that somehow. It's not a big deal to bench Travis Schneider or trade him or whatever. So they would rather have Polanco out there. You're going to see him in June for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to throw two guys out there at the same time. Two Mets players, both pitchers, Rafael Montero and Noah Syndergaard. Tell me, General, who do you like better?
I think at the moment, I like Montero better. He's got a little bit more time in the minors, a little bit more seasoned, but I got to tell you, they are neck and neck. You're looking at two extremely good pitchers, both pitching well at AAA, both play for a parent team that need help. Not just, listen, there's nothing wrong with these guys being relievers for a little bit of time. Maybe for, half a year, one of them's a reliever, one of them's a starter. But you know what? A roster spot could open up for two starting pitchers. But either way, I think it's important that these guys are on this big league roster come June. That's my opinion.
Yeah, you know what? I absolutely agree with that. And I really, really want to see both of them come up when there is an opening for them to both be starters. I don't like bringing guys up and throwing them out in middle relief and just to get a taste of being in the big leagues. To me, if you've got a guy that's going to be a starting pitcher, bring him up as a starter.
It's working for the Cardinals. It's working for them.
It's worked.
They're bringing
It's
guys
worked.
up.
I don't particularly like it myself. But I have to agree right now that I think Montero is a little bit further along. He's 2 years older, for starters. But Syndergaard, first three starts at AAA, ERA 3.94. But it's almost like he's kind of biding his time until they call him up.
I mean, they both have incredible control, the way I see it, at this stage of their career. They both have really good control, and that's usually one of the big factors with rookie pitchers. So, I don't know, man. They're ready. I noticed that the Mets, have Dice K coming up, so they have to now. They're stuck with him. So they got to do something with him.
I don't know. Are they going to put him in the rotation?
I don't know.
Are they
They
going
purchase his
to
contract.
pitch him out of the pen?
So. I don't know, but it's, they're kind of stuck with him because they kind of made the commitment to him. But it's like, just get through with him for another 6 weeks and then be done with him, I think.
I agree. Trade him if you can, dump him, do whatever you have to do.
Yeah.
But I don't want to see Daisuke. Archie Bradley, 21-year-old right-hander with a 1.50 ERA right now in AAA in his first 12 innings. They're probably going to play a game with this guy too. I think this is a guy that's going to wind up getting held back a little bit longer unless there's a need.
Listen, especially the way that the Diamondbacks are playing right now, I mean, they are horrible. So I don't know if they're going to make a move with him. They might wait it out. I don't know.
Yeah. Taijuan Walker, Seattle, he's got a right shoulder impingement now.
Shut him down.
He's getting shut down. It looks like he's going to be shut down for a few weeks, so we're not going to see him anytime soon. They said a minimum of 2 weeks on him. Michael Franco.
Terrible. He can't hit.
Can't hit. Well, he can't hit. Right now, he's hitting a 0.98 in the minors. I'll give you that. Through 11 games, and he had a rough spring too.
Wow.
But this is a guy with a tremendous amount of power and a guy that there'll be an opening for. I mean, there's only so much longer that they're going to put up with Cody Ash hitting $189, and that's what he's hitting right now.
He's got to do a lot more to get that call up.
Yeah.
I got one left for you here, Admiral. Marcus Stroman, pitching in the Blue Jays AAA team in Buffalo. 15 innings pitched, 12 hits, 6 walks, 21 Ks. 1.17 ERA. There was a lot of talk that he was going to make the team out of spring training. He did not, but he's showing his worth down at AAA right now. He's a Long Island product. We always bring him up because I watched him pitch when he was in high school, and he looks like he's rounding out into shape. I think you're going to probably see him in June. So keep an eye on Marcus Stroman. Grab him now or grab him soon if you need help at pitcher.
Just to wrap up with a couple of quick guys, Chris Bryant of the Cubs, second overall pick in the 2013 draft. You know what? This guy is going to be, I think what they're going to wind up doing with this guy is moving him from third base to the outfield. But they're talking about this guy being a potential MVP candidate out of the gate. That's how good this guy's supposed to be. Buxton quickly, wrist injury. He won't be up anytime soon. And finally, Jock Peterson.
Oh, yeah, we forgot about Jock Peterson. Hitting .442, 5 homers, 8 RBIs, stealing bases. He's blocked right now in the outfield because
Right.
you don't have an opening in the Dodger town, but this guy can hit, and he's ready to go.
It's going to take a couple of injuries to get him up and playing every day, but at some point, this guy's going to force their hand.
Absolutely.
All right. So listen, let's not forget, this is our last Saturday show. We will be on this Tuesday night, 6:30 to 7:30, with Fantasy Baseball Code Red here on InRavio.com. So for the General and the Admiral, thanks for tuning in, and we will see you on Tuesday.
InRavio.